bugs are about to invade Oninoshima, seemingly coming from the giant tentacle that we fought in the recent live event. But what happened that took our story here? Well, to answer that, I think it would be best to take you all back to where my last full story episode left off, with Daigo entering the spirit realm and becoming corrupted by the dark presence. But in Daigo's absence, a new threat loomed over Oninoshima, the Death Star, which the iconic Star Wars villain Emperor Palpatine planned to use to obliterate Oninoshima. Too bad this season's entire storyline just resulted in a bunch of pointless, boring side quests about the Star Wars characters that all ended with dialogue along the lines of, "The Death Star is coming! What are we gonna do?" On the bright side, the live event in the end made up for all of this, and even connected the Star Wars season to the rest of the Chapter 6 storyline. So during the Death Star sabotage event, the Loopers teamed up with Hope and Jones on a mission to take down the Death Star. The mission succeeded and caused the explosion of the Death Star, but this also had unforeseen consequences for Oninoshima, as a shard of the Death Star crashed into a portal to the spirit realm that just so happened to be opening at the time of the impact. This sent a shockwave full of 0-point energy across the island, which led to some of the citizens finding out that they now had superpowers. But with the rise of some new heroes on the island, a new villain has also come into power, which has also led to both sides of this conflict teaming up with some unexpected allies. So as you can see, the storyline this season has been put into overdrive, and with so much going on, it's easy to lose track of everything. So throughout this video, I will be going into detail on who these new superheroes are, why Daigo is now a full-blown villain, why Superman is here, what is going on with our past characters, and how this all led up to that end season live event. We've got a lot of ground to cover in this video, and I don't like wasting your time, so let's jump straight into what's going on with Daigo. So Daigo has once again returned this season, but something is clearly off about our favorite mask maker's sibling. And that's because Daigo wasn't simply corrupted by the dark presence at the end of season 2, but he's actually become fully possessed by it, meaning that Daigo no longer has control over his body or his actions, and it would seem that the only time he's able to temporarily regain control is when he is defeated within the loop, as we can see him calling out for help. Which, to briefly touch on that topic, we did get confirmation that Oninoshima does have its own loop bubble, as seen during the Star Wars event, which confirmed a theory of mine I mentioned in my last couple of full story videos. But back to Daigo. The Dark Presence is using the corrupted mask maker to drain Oninoshima of its magic, which was the same thing Daigo prevented Shogun X from doing back in season 1 when he was rescuing Jade. But this time around, an upgraded demon army is working under Daigo alongside their new lieutenant, Core, who you would know if you were a long-time storyline fan, as Core used to take commissions from the Imagined Order back in Chapter 2, but decided to go undercover after they fell in Chapter 3. But why is she here now? Well, what's interesting about Core is that unlike other characters like Daigo and the Night Rose in Season 1, Core is said to be sworn to the darkness and not bound by it against her will, which raises the question of why she would involve herself in this conflict unless someone she's already working for is also involved. And I do believe that someone is none other than Dr. Salone, who is teased to be returning back during Fortnite Remix. But that's all I'll say about Core for now, as I want to keep most of the attention on the possessed Daigo, who throughout this season has been spreading the spirit realm's corruption across Oninoshima using these spires we've seen around the island, which in turn has caused the mask maker to enter an empowered state to see the dark presence's plans come to fruition. But who is left to stand up against this threat? Well, now I believe it's time to talk about our new team of superheroes known on the island as the Supernovas. So, as I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, a shockwave full of 0-point energy passed over all of Oninoshima. Well, this battle bus full of our new characters was struck by this blast and was sent hurling towards the island. And lucky for them, Superman happened to arrive on the island just in time to save them. If you ask Superman how he ended up here, he believes he fell through a rift and ended up on Oninoshima, which is similar to how Batman ended up in Reality Zero back in the 0-Point comics. But while he's here, Superman has agreed to team up with Hope, Jones, and the Knight Rose to act as a teacher at the brand new Supernova Academy, a university designed to train the island's new generation of heroes and help them master their powers. Oh, and apparently Robin has also wound up in this reality as well and is also willing to instruct the new heroes. But while Hope is the one in charge of this academy, the place was actually funded by Midas, who saw potential in Hope's plan, but is too busy working with his band of outlaws, but he was still willing to foot the bill for them, which is how these facilities were constructed so quickly. With the background of the actual school out of the way, let me introduce you to the students. So while there are technically multiple classes at this academy, it would seem only the characters in the battle pass actually matter to the story. Anyways, the members of the Supernovas consist of Killswitch, a cybernetic soldier with unbelievable aim, Haley Sky, who has the power to turn herself into a storm beast, Synthwave, a DJ whose beats have turned into her power, Light Rider, who can manipulate res energy to her will, Morgan Mist, who controls arcane shadows and who Hope believes should be the leader of the team. She's also the main character of this season, so we'll be talking about her a lot throughout this video. Oh, and yeah, there's this bum Ziggy, who's literally just a Jones snapshot that got fused with his pet chameleon. If you want to learn a bit more about these characters, I did make dedicated shorts for all of them that you can check out. But all you really need to know is that over the course of this season, these heroes have been taking a lot of time to not only master their powers, but become closer as a team. Some becoming basically best friends, and these two possibly being even more than friends, but I don't know if I can consider an Instagram post canon or not. Like, why not put the fun side stories about these characters in the actual game? I swear, sometimes it's like, want to learn a fun fact about your favorite skin from this season? Refer to the Minecraft Essentials Handbook. They put a ton of the lore of this season in anything but Battle Royale. That aside, let's talk about the story quest this season. Remember how I said we'd be talking a lot about Morgan in this video? Well, Hope starts off this quest line by saying she's quite impressed with the progress of the academy, but one of the heroes is having some issues with her powers. So Hope asks us, the loopers, if we can track down her shadow clone so that they could return to her. After that goes well, Hope properly introduces us to Morgan Mist. Hope tells us she sees a lot of herself in Morgan and says she has a lot of potential if she is able to overcome her confidence issues, which is why she asks us, the Looper, to tutor Morgan. And now that we are officially working with her, together we go on a mission to set up some surveillance devices at Demon's Domain to find out what Daigo is really up to. Morgan is also able to get some chunks from the spires to give to Superman so that he can analyze them, as he believes it's important to understand what the spires are in order to protect the people of this island. After this, some time passes, and it would seem that Morgan's training with the Looper has been going smoothly, but eventually, Morgan shares with us that she has a suspicion that the teachers of Supernova Academy were hiding something. And it wasn't just the key to actually finishing these broken story quests. Seriously, these things were broken for like half the season, and it was infuriating. Anyways, Morgan and the Looper gathered clues around the academy and pieced together that Hope, Jones, and the Knight Rose were all working with Midas on a project in Utopia City. So now the Looper and Morgan go to investigate, and after unlocking the archway in the city with a sprite, a hologram of the 0 Point Vault appeared, as well as a hologram of Midas, who had predicted that Morgan would discover their secret, and since Midas was impressed, he reveals to Morgan that this structure is actually a vault to store the 0 Point shard once they have it. Morgan was taken aback by this discovery and decided to confront Hope, who was also impressed with Morgan's sleuthing skills and reveals that Midas is not only funding Supernova Academy, but also this vault. She also confirms that while she doesn't trust Midas, she still thinks that working with him for now is the best chance to secure the shard. After this, more time passes, and it would seem that Daigo did the unthinkable. He ruined Supernova Academy by kicking over a trash can. Truly a monster. Alright, jokes aside, in the actual story, the Academy did take a lot of damage, which demoralized all of the Supernovas. Morgan then realized at this time that the team needed somebody to step up and lead them, and she realized that her team needed hope and asked the Looper if they would help her inspire the rest of the team. The Looper then ran around the island finding mementos that would cheer the Supernovas up. After this, the pair collect remnants of some of the spires to create a monument to Supernova Academy. And it seems like this worked, as the Supernovas were back in full swing and now ready to face their final challenge: the possessed mask maker himself. But before we move on to the event, you may be wondering what Daigo's siblings have been doing this entire season. Well, after seeing their brother return, now leading the same demon army that kidnapped Jade, the two felt understandably hurt and removed themselves from the main heroes for the time being to clear their heads. Kendo at first thought there was no redeeming his brother and told everyone else they should just end Daigo if given the opportunity. But what he didn't understand yet is that his brother was actually possessed, which he did eventually find out during his investigation with the Looper. This made Kendo do a complete 180, and he has been spending his time this entire season trying to figure out a way to free his brother without having to hurt him. Jade, on the other hand, always believed her brother was possessed from the start and has just been trying to get clues from the sprites to see how to save him. And now that brings us to the live event that for some reason didn't save in replay mode. Anyways, the possessed Daigo finally enacts his plan. He claims that this is his destiny, and using the power of his spires, summons a Kraken from the spirit realm. But what the possessed Daigo did not expect was for the monster to betray him. After Daigo was defeated, the Supernovas then came to save the day, and together with the help of nearby Loopers, they took on the Kraken. Everyone attacked the tentacle with everything they had, and seemingly they defeated the monster, or at least they thought so, but more tentacles came out of the portal and began to use the powers of the 0 point on the heroes, trapping them in place. But just as the beast went for the finishing blow, the tentacle was split in two, and Superman was here to save the day. To no one's surprise, he made quick work of the monster and sent it back to the spirit realm. But that's not where this story ends. I'm sure your first question is, what happened to Daigo after the event? Well, he's actually been freed from the dark presence and is back to his old self. And Jade couldn't be happier to have her big brother back. And while Kendo is also happy that Daigo wasn't actually a villain, he's also become insanely motivated to finally become the hero he's always wanted to be, teacher or not. So hopefully they follow up on this in the next season. And one final question I'm sure some have, was the Kraken the Dark Presence? Well, the Night Rose confirms that it was not and was merely just an attempt it used to invade the island. An attempt that may have been more successful than our heroes expect, as the tentacle is now rotting and bugs are starting to come out of it. So it looks like our battle against the Dark Presence is far from over. And on top of that, mysteriously, the Tomato Town sign from the OG reality has rifted onto Oninoshima, confirming that our current story is connected to what's happening in the OG reality, and also maybe hinting at the return of a fan favorite character. But that's where our story ends off for now, so if you like this video, smash the like button, and let me know your thoughts and theories down in the comments. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And if you would like to support me one step further, please consider using my code ThunderDM in the item shop. But that's all for now. See ya.